Cool. So we're here. Good afternoon, everybody. Rich Mavriganis coming to you live from the Discovered Video Studio here in Wallingford, Connecticut. Pretty nice day. It's not too cold, and this is our last webcast, I think, for March of 2017. Just a reminder, this Saturday, spring ahead, fall back. So it's spring, so you get to spring ahead, which means I think you lose an hour of sleep. Is that right? Yeah, so I've already lost plenty of sleep. Look at me. Today's webcast, this is live, so look down below here, and you'll see there's an area where you can put in your name and type in a question. So go ahead and do that. Type in a question in real time. You can say hi, whatever you want, and we'll answer those questions as they come in, or actually we'll probably wait to the end and answer any questions that you post, at least the ones that are not too rude. That's how we like to roll. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to talk about replacing your system, right? So you probably are interested in upgrading and using modern technology, so a little bit about that. Okay, so yeah, ask any. You can ask questions in real time. So a little bit about Discover Video. So Discover Video was founded in 2008. Been doing this for a very long time. In fact, the legacy systems that we're often replacing are ones that we created back in 1997 when we started VBrick systems. So that's a sort of poetic, I guess. Those people are moving on to the next generation technology. So Discover Video, we're very proud of the fact that we're one of the fastest growing companies in the United States, according to Inc. magazine, one of the 500 fastest growing companies. And veteran owned, and our products are made in America. So if you're an American, yeah, that's a good thing. I know we have some people tuned in from Spain and from around the world. American products are good, so you can certainly feel confident buying our technology. So we've got a lot of systems installed around the world. There's hundreds of organizations using the Discover Video technology, millions of viewers served everywhere from Toledo Public Schools in Ohio to Texas to Ohio, Connecticut, Massachusetts, all over the world, both corporations and educational institutions. Thousands of encoders, thousands of digital signage displays being displayed all over the world. About 50% of our customers choose premise solutions, and we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about why that is so. And about 50% tends to use a cloud solution, and nowadays that is often more of a hybrid solution, right? Part cloud and a little bit of premise. We also support a lot of TV broadcasters, in particular PEG broadcasters. Those are your local cable TV access stations, using us for streaming on the public internet, as well as sometimes for trunking between multiple locations. And we have a lot of webcasters that use our technology just for the general public internet, like you're viewing right now on the internet. By the way, this is being recorded, and after this session, it'll be available for on-demand viewing at your leisure. So a good way to understand what we do is what our customers do. What do the customers use our systems for, but also what they may be using the legacy systems for. So a primary application is something like a video repository. So you collect videos from around the organization. Where the heck do you put them? You don't want to put them all up on YouTube. They're for the public, and they may have advertising, and there may be issues with that. So a unified video repository for content all over your organizations. We'll get into how to organize that. An important capability is live broadcasting. Now, in the corporate world, that might be a CEO live alignment meeting or a quarterly meeting. So we have large corporations that regularly do that, and they stream that out to all of their branch offices and have tens of thousands of people viewing the live webcast, perhaps like you're doing right now, but viewing it on the enterprise. TV distribution, that's 7 by 24, continuous, never stop, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, CNN, TV. So gone are the days when you string coax cable around. It's now sent over the digital network, and our technology does that along with a program guide so you know what's on. I mentioned morning announcements. This is in schools, so really, really common application. And there's a seminar you can view that is available for on-demand viewing that talks about live morning announcements. But basically, instead of doing a public address system announcement with audio, the kids stand in front of a camera and microphone and take turns, usually doing a 5, 10-minute, 15-minute broadcast, which is broadcast throughout a school. In a school district, you have many schools. Each can do their own, even though they only have one system. So live morning announcement is pretty cool. Digital signage we'll talk about. Lecture capture. Now, lecture capture, as the name implies, is often recording an educator, a lecturer, whether it's a seminar or a classroom experience, along with maybe PowerPoint or another video input. We can do up to 4 of those at the same time, that is to say, in one player. And then skills assessment, right? So skills assessment is commonly something like clinical skills. Maybe you've got some physician trainers and other sort of healthcare workers interacting with a patient, and you have 4 cameras aimed at different areas of interest, and that can be streamed live, viewed as a set, recorded as a set, and played back for later analysis. So skills assessment training is also a important part of what many of our customers are doing. Now, this is by no means a comprehensive list because people do so many things with live, on-demand video, digital signage, and so on. I mentioned we've been doing this for a long time, so you can tell by my hairstyle, right? We got some experience here. So back in the 1990s, maybe you remember the player wars. Does that ring a bell? You had real media, real audio, and it was quite this novelty about sending audio and then video over dial-up network connections on the public internet, because that's all we had. In the enterprise, it was dominated by MPEG-1 multicast distribution, later MPEG-2 multicast, and maybe some of you are still doing that. We'll show you some pictures about some issues with that. In the next decade, in the 2000s, Windows Media came of age. We had Windows Media 9, a fantastic encoder. It was eclipsed by H.264 later, but fantastic encoder, fantastic ecosystem. And they were duking it out with Apple, QuickTime, right? Those of you who are part of the Apple religion, everything is Apple. And at the same time, in the enterprise, there was also multicast delivery of MPEG-2, Windows Media, and along comes MPEG-4 Part 2, right? Later, MPEG-4 Part 10, which we now call H.264. And today, in this decade, in the 2010s, H.264 or MPEG-4 Part 10 is the standard, right? That's what everybody operates on today. Fantastic, great encoding technology, small file sizes. I don't have to go through the technology here, but that's what people are doing today, both unicast and multicast. But now, because of the network infrastructures we deal with, it's really dominantly a unicast phenomenon, right? Again, we have no axe to grind one way or the other. And maybe you have these legacy systems. After all, you've tuned into this broadcast, this webinar, to learn about how you migrate from your existing legacy system. So your legacy system might look like this. So here we have Windows Media infrastructure. Again, I love this technology. A Windows Media server on the origin, either a multicast or unicast streams out to edge servers and then distribution to desktops. Well, that doesn't work so well anymore because it's Windows Media. You need a Windows Media player, or you need Silverlight. So Microsoft, sort of ended the whole Windows Media product development. There were friends of mine, Building 50 in Redmond at the Microsoft campus. A lot of people there. They were all scattered to the wind, and Windows Media came to an end. Superseded later by Smooth Streaming and Silverlight, but we all know what happened with Silverlight. That's not a a technology of the present, or certainly not the future. Now, on the other side, on the right-hand side here, you can see we've got IP multicasting. So this is where you would take an encoder and you would tell the encoder to stream multicast directly, and then you could tune into it on a player. And back in the old days, we did that with MPEG-1, MPEG-2, H.264 more recently, and you would use a player like Stream Player is what we developed back then. Today you might use QuickTime Player or VLC and view that live stream direct. Well, that's fraught with trouble because you can't really control it, and there's some drama with multicast that we'll talk about. So maybe you have an old legacy system that might fall into one of these categories. Well, how do you update that? How do you make that modern? Well, there's another issue. Here's another example of a legacy system. This is typical of what we are replacing nowadays. So you've got a bunch of encoders. They're all doing the multicast thing again, which was great in the 2000s and 1990s. But look at how many servers you have. So you would commonly have like a portal server. Then you would have a video on demand server. Then you would have a recording server, and you had all these servers and all this infrastructure, which was difficult to maintain, very difficult to support, and very expensive to continue to use. And maybe you're in that boat. So we're upgrading these systems. So let's look at some common issues that you would have for these legacy systems. Excuse me one moment. I just have to have a sip here. My throat is getting a little scratchy. So common issues for legacy systems. I think I mentioned this already. So you got a browser. You want to view the video on a browser. That's what everybody has, or on a cell phone, or a tablet, or a Chromebook, or a modern device. Well, maintaining and installing special plugins to view the video, ActiveX controls, Java, controls. This is a real problem, not only for security but for support. Having to do desktop support to support all of these plugins at desktops is a nightmare, and people simply don't want to do that anyway. Worse, the browsers no longer support it. Papsy was removed from Chrome. You can't do ActiveX there anymore. Edge and IE is a problem there too. The reliance on multicast. I love multicast. Multicast is the right thing to do. But one of the problems with multicast is that if it's not a web technology, if it's not a technology that is used over the public internet, engineers are not interested in learning it, right? Those muscles sort of atrophy. Multicast is a great technology, but your career doesn't advance very far if you're a multicast expert in many cases, because it's not attached to the public internet. Multicast doesn't travel over the public internet. Again, difficult to troubleshoot, but it also has other issues. It has firewall issues, both local on the desktop, as well as in the backbone. It commonly is not going to get to mobile devices, iPhones, iPads, Androids, and so on. Either it's blocked or it's going to exhaust the radios if you're trying to do it over a Wi-Fi network. The other issue that are common for these legacy systems is the complexity. Remember, we looked at the picture with multiple servers. That's a problem. And then the maintenance cost. So what people are discovering is the cost of a brand new system from Discover Video can be less than what you're paying for a year of maintenance of the old system. Yeah. So that gives you an economic incentive to update your system and get all the features and functions and advantages that modern system brings us. So what are the things that I've heard people say? What do our customers say usually before the upgrade? One thing I hear a lot is, well, it never really worked. That's unfortunate, because these organizations have spent a lot of money on these systems and it never really worked for the reasons I just outlined: complexity, multicast, desktop plugins. So that's a common thing. The other complaint that I hear is the customers or the vendors of these systems sort of nickel and dime you to death. So, here's a server, but it doesn't do this unless you buy this option or that option. And if you looked at some of the price lists for some of these systems, they're a mile long and sort of indecipherable. So nickel and diming people gets people upset. We don't do that. You buy a Devo system from Discover Video, all the things I'm going to show you are all included. I mean, there's a few options you can have, but it's not a nickel and diming where you don't get the things that you need when you buy the system. So let me give you some examples of some customers who have done an upgrade to their system. So first we can start with Ridgefield Public Schools. So Ridgefield Public Schools, they had a VBRIC system. I think I probably designed or sold that to them 20 years ago. And one of the things that we did for them, and it was pretty straightforward, is they moved to a modern system, and we preserved all of their content. So they had years and years of recording. So they ripped DVDs, they recorded VHS tapes. So they had an extensive library that took them years to develop. And you sure as heck don't want to just throw that away. So as part of the transition, we moved all that content over. And that's because the Devo system automatically transcodes any of that video into modern H.264. Just import it, and it does it for you. So the transition is very, very easy. Norwich Academy is another example. So Norwich Academy had a high vision system. And one of the nice things about their transition, and others do the same thing, they didn't have to throw away the encoders. They certainly upgraded the infrastructure, the server, to provide all this capability. But high vision makes terrific encoders. VBRIC encoders are fine too. They're just really expensive. But particularly because they're expensive, you don't want to just throw them away. No, one of the advantages of standards is that you can reuse that technology and continue to stream live to the Devo system using virtually any third-party encoder that meets the appropriate standards. Amarillo ISD, that's Independent School District in Texas, that's another great example. They had a Cisco show and tell system, their show and share system, and they upgraded to the Devo system. Never really looked back. The show and share system was certainly not giving them all of the things that they needed: video on demand, live video distribution, morning announcements, digital sign, all of these things that Devos does. So they got quite a bargain as part of their upgrade process. New Britain Public Schools, they replaced a Safari montage system because they needed to do the digital signage, the video on demand, all of these features that are all included, and they didn't want to get nickel and dimed, and the old system was a bit dated as well. Anderson School District, they're in South Carolina, I believe. They also replaced a VBRIC system, but they added digital signage as part of that. Didn't cost them anything extra. In their particular case, they're doing the digital signage around the campus on commercial and consumer TV displays. I think they're also using some Roku devices to view various content. Right? That's a very inexpensive solution because that's stitched into our system as well. Right? So you have a lot of options. So those are some examples of some customers who have gone through the upgrade process. What does it look like afterward? Show me a picture. Well, so here's a picture that's just a little bit complex, but I'm going to make it even more complex in a moment. So here we've got Streamzy Encoder. That's software. So you just stream live from any desktop, PC, Mac, even iOS, stream live or record and automatically upload. Very inexpensive and integrated into the whole system. So you don't have to spend $5,000, $10,000 on every encoder. That makes it possible for every employee, every teacher, every administrator to be able to generate their own content anytime that they want. Really pretty cool. Now you got the Devo server in the middle there. That's the heart of the system. Now that could be a premise system or it could be a cloud system. We're going to talk about that in a second. The stream pump up above that provides a bandwidth amplifier. So maybe I'm in a branch office someplace. If you don't need this at a branch office, you don't include it. But I'm in a branch office someplace and I got 1,000 people that wish to view live video. The stream pump automatically replicates the content. So if there's 1,000 people viewing at the branch office, I'm only using the bandwidth of one viewer. It also caches content and could do time of day content distribution. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. On the right-hand side, you've got mobile viewers, you've got desktop, Apple, Microsoft, Windows, whatever you like, set-top boxes, digital signage displays, all connected to the Devo system that's in the middle. So, what am I telling you? I'm telling you that complexity has been reduced. You now have a single, unified, network and device-friendly visual communications platform. That's how we think about the Devo system, right? Great solution for you. Rich, what does it look like? That's great. You showed me all those pictures of technology. What does it look like? It's really easy to operate. Really, really easy. And, without giving you a tutorial here, let me give you a taste of what this looks like. So let's actually open up a live page right now. So I clicked on this, and this will open up my browser. I think I already have a few loaded here. So I've opened up a channel, and a channel is merely a collection of content. Could be live, could be video on demand, could be synchronized multimedia presentations, which is PowerPoint slides with video that is synchronized with built-in polling and chat, and a lot of capability. So I can simply open up a channel that belongs to me. You could have a channel that belongs to you. And there's unlimited number of channels. So I've opened up a channel that is the Discover Video training channel. So here's some tutorial information about how the system operates. Let's take a look at one of these. Maybe I'll just do a quick view. I could open up full screen. I can open it up in lots of different ways. There you go. You get the idea. So you just click on the video, and it instantly plays on your desktop. Of course, you have search and sort, and I can find the video that I want. I can add chat and comments and all of those sort of accoutrements. I even attach documents to it, so it's a true training video capability. So that's what a viewing experience might look like, and this is the same viewing experience as you have on your cell phone or you have on a tablet. What about management? Well, here's a management interface. There's several styles of management interface. This one is for your typical business user. So what do you want to do? Oh, well, I want to upload some video. Click Upload. I want to import some video from YouTube. Click. You could add YouTube video. So your library can include virtually 150 million different videos that you can pinch from YouTube and stick them into the system, and we'll manage and maintain them for you. Let's take a look at my video library. Let's look at the content that I've put into my video library. And any of this content I can then add to a channel, which you can then view. And of course, I'm going to measure your viewing and see who's viewing and provide analytics and reports and all the things that you need. I can even insert questions within that video. Right? So I have a lot of content here. Let's see if I can find one of my favorite videos. Yeah, there we go. Let's do a quick view on this one.
Hey, look who I found, boss.
Oh, boy.
Gianni, all right?
Okay, all right.
We just need a little more time.
Got it. That's what you...
It's coming right up.
Time's up, Cinderellas. It's midnight.
So I'll entertain you just a second here. I don't know why I find this hilarious, but I won't play this all for you right now. I'll watch it myself privately later. Point is, I can manage all of my content. I have a very simple interface, or I can go to advanced interface and get more sophisticated and do virtually anything that I want. These are all responsive interfaces, so very easy to use. There's a quick demonstration of part of the Devo's user interface. Let's move on. Let's build a system. What are the elements of a system that you need? Well, certainly you need the Devo's server itself. Now, we sell the server in several forms. You could buy the iron from us, and many of our customers do. That is to say, you can buy the physical server with so much storage, and you can buy it as small, medium, or large. We have 3 sizes. So great. That's a great thing if you don't already have a bunch of iron, if you don't have a bunch of servers and a big IT infrastructure. Just plug it in and it's going to work. Or we sell it as software. In this case, we'll install the software on your virtual machine. So turn up a virtual machine and we'll install it on your hardware, right? Then you can maintain the hardware. So that's a great choice. And of course, there's the cloud. There's a hosted solution. The DeVos is hosted by us on the cloud, and it belongs to you. You have full access to it. So 3 different ways. Again, doesn't really matter to us. What matters to us is that you're successful, that you choose the solution that best fits your needs. And those needs could be defined as technical needs. You don't have enough bandwidth for cloud, you need premise. It could be a capital need or a financial need, OpEx versus CapEx. It could be just an orientation of your IT staff. We prefer to keep things in. We like them on the cloud. Or it could be technical, right? We just don't have enough bandwidth, or we're concerned about security, right? Lots of reasons why you might choose one over the other. And as I mentioned, nowadays cloud is commonly a hybrid, some cloud, some premise. Another element of the system are the sources of the video. Where do I get my encoders? Well, I mentioned the StreamSy software encoder. This is fantastic. It's a full production suite. That's what we're using right now. So I'm in a studio, and in truth, there's a green screen behind me, and we're using chroma key built into StreamSy. Why don't you put me in the middle of the picture here for a second? There you go, right? So it's got some special effects. It's got chroma key. All right, I'll go back down to the corner. Thank you. So that's StreamSy. You could get some production value out of it. You can do just one video. You can do 2 videos. Very inexpensive compared to other encoders. And as a result, you can widely distribute your StreamSy software, and all of your teachers, all of your employees, all your department heads can do their own thing. You don't have to have a magic studio, right, and the lights and cameras. You can do this sort of casually. We have appliance encoders, the Mantis encoder. There's some videos on our website talking about that. Fantastic encoder. Supports whatever you want, HDMI, component composite, SDI, DVI, HDMI, VGA. Gives you just about any sort of input that you want. Sometimes an appliance encoder makes sense. We're not going to have a PC there. We're going to put this in a cabinet, and we just want to be able to remotely control it. StreamSy iOS is for your cell phone. And then you have Stream Engine. Stream Engine allows you to stream capture up to 16 simultaneous live video streams, live video feeds from an HDMI source, for example, and stream those to your DeVos system or to somebody else if you like. That's commonly used for TV distribution. Here's my audio video feed for ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, Bloomberg Financial, I don't know, what did I leave off? Fox, Discovery Channel, History. I don't have to read my channel lineup to you. But there is a channel lineup. So if you do live TV distribution, you have a TV program guide. You can even say, what's on tonight at 9 p.m.? I think I'll record that, hit record, and it automatically record it for you. So that's all built in the system. Stream Engine's a great HD encoder that'll stream that live video to the system for you. For digital signage, you've got a number of choices. Built into the system is digital signage in a web page. So you want to just display that on a web page someplace, knock yourself out. Of course, if the web page crashes or goes down, you have to go refresh it or something. SignStick is our best tool for digital signage. Really cool, little device. You can see it handheld. Plug it into your TV. It automatically is configured from the DeVos system and displays your digital signage. Live video, video on demand, playlists, lots of templates, weather, RSS feeds. And again, there's a seminar posted here where you can learn more about digital signage, right? So you've got a number of choices for digital signage players, everywhere from zero, played in a web browser, to a SignStick or a digital signage media player. Then you've got Stream Pump. Remember the picture I showed you a little while ago where I said, up on the top right there you have the branch office with 1,000 viewers, or a school with a bunch of viewers? Well, how do I distribute content to them? Stream Pump. Great tool. Even does time of day caching. We have one customer, for example, that is concerned about their bandwidth usage during the day, so the stream pump automatically replicates the content for VOD viewing at the edge at 3 a.m., right? Not using bandwidth during the day. So a sophisticated appliance, and again, it's available small, medium, or large, right? Whatever is right for you. So there's your system architecture. You got desktops for sourcing live video, streaming your desktop, streaming your webcam, or streaming your professional video input via these devices we sell called Captiva, USB input devices, can take in audio, video, and present it to your PC. Cable TV distribution or over-the-air TV distribution, streaming from iPhone, iPads. We talked about third-party encoders. Remember in the migration discussion, we said you got Hivision, you got vBrick, you got various encoders out there. Don't throw them away. As long as they're H.264 encoders, I mean, if they're really old, throw them away. But as long as they're somewhat modern, they'll integrate in with the system quite nicely. Here I put 3 Devo servers in. Why did I do that? Well, because it's clusters. Automatically will cluster. Why do you cluster it? Well, Rich, what's the capacity of one server? Well, the capacity of one server is, thousands of viewers. Well, I've got 30,000 viewers. No problem. You can add as many servers as you like, and they'll automatically load balance your content. Want to double your capacity? Put in another server. Now your capacity has just doubled. And it'll deliver unicast and or multicast to the viewers. And on the right-hand side, mobile desktop, Roku, consumer device, smart TVs for digital signage or channel selection, and of course Sign Stick for viewing your content. Let's take a look at Lowell Public Schools, see what they do.
So at the beginning of each school year, before school starts, they run a full day of orientation for these new hires. We went and taped it this year, all the different sessions that were at that, and we put it up on Devos. They ended up hiring like 18 people after school started. There was no way for them to complete that orientation requirement except for they log into Devos and they can watch all those orientation sessions.
If you're looking for more info on college success, make sure to register for our site, find us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Just now starting to use the sign sticks so that when there are places where a display really needs to be because it's a central traffic area of some kind and it's just inconvenient to get IP there somehow, boom, the stick is there and we're done and the signage can be displayed with no problem. What would happen is somebody's teaching Shakespeare and one of these guys would have Macbeth from 1970 when Sir Laurence Olivier was in it, right? And then somebody else would have the 2010 PBS version with Patrick Stewart. But nobody ever had them all. And so at the end of the last school year, one of the English teachers came up and he literally had a box like this, probably 60 DVDs in it. And we put them all into Devos. And so now, when they study Shakespeare, there's 4 versions of Macbeth there. They can call up, 8 teachers, 12 teachers can call up any one of them all on the same day, doing whatever they want, compare and contrast whatever they want to do. So that's worked out ridiculously well. Again, before it was kind of like, oh, when you finish with that one, can you give that to me so I can show a snippet of that?
Good morning, Lowell High. I'm Kayla Noble.
And I'm Rosa M. Today is November 15th. Welcome to the Reader Report.
Rack full of stuff with decoders and then, split that out and it'd be, miles and miles of coax cable to every TV in each school. And then by, maybe '09 through 2011, those encoders and all those things slowly started dying away, and there was no place to replace them. So originally the idea was to have this as a distribution platform for those cable streams, plus to have some kind of a VOD common platform for VOD stuff. And that's really what we were looking for when we bought it. Everybody in every classroom and every IP-enabled piece of gear in the school system sees all 6 of those streams at any time they want.
Cool. So any of you guess where Jack comes from, where Lowell is? I'll give you a hint. I think you probably detected it in Jack's voice that he parks the car in the yard. He's from Lowell, Massachusetts. Great guy, and they've had great success replacing their VBrick system with Discover Video. What's the questions people have? I know one of them. I'll preempt it. How much does this cost? Can I afford it? Relax. You can afford it. Very, very simple. As I mentioned before, we have no axe to grind. How you deploy it. If you go for a OpEx model, that is operational expense, you go for a cloud system, it's as low as $700 a month, right? You might need more. You still might need encoders. You might need digital signage players and so on, but it could be as low as $700 a month, right? Depending on how much storage and bandwidth that you use. But we have customers that pay about that. For a premise solution, boy, that's impossible to really give you a crisp answer on. Obviously it's going to depend. How many servers, how many encoders, how many this, how many that, what do you need? But we have small, medium, large, as I mentioned. We have a product called Stinger. And installation, depending upon what you're doing, could be $10,000 to $100,000 or more, right? I think a typical enterprise installation is somewhere in the middle, right? Somewhere in the middle. So that's it. I think those are, that's my presentation, and I think there's a few questions. So let's see if we can take the questions right now. What do you got?
Okay, first question. I use a Blackmagic switcher to do a multi-camera live edit, and we shoot with 4 cameras at a remote location, and we tether to a Verizon network.
Yep.
Would that work with our system?
Yes, it would. So the question is, you're doing production switching and you're using a Blackmagic switcher. By the way, I have a spare ATEM switcher. If anybody listening wishes to purchase it, it's used once, but I'm willing to part with it, or I don't need it anymore. Part of the reason I don't need with it, because I use StreamSy, which has the built-in switch, at least for 2 cameras. But yeah, if you take your output of your production, from an encoder point of view, all we care about is the audio video. That it's switched is kind of irrelevant, right? It's just an audio video feed. And you can plug that into StreamSy on your PC, and your PC can have a Verizon connection. And yes, you can stream mobile at the appropriate bit rate, based on your network conditions. If you can bond a couple of Verizon channels together and get more bandwidth, you can do higher quality. One of the things that I should mention that's built in, there's some videos on here about that, built into StreamSy, is you can stream at one rate and record at another. This is important because in this case, you're streaming on Verizon on cellular. If the electrons are blowing in the right direction, maybe you can stream at a meg, 2 meg, maybe even beyond that from an uplink point of view. But let's suppose that you can only stream at 1 meg for whatever reason. You don't want to have a poor quality recording. So StreamSy will allow you to stream at one rate and record at a different rate and different resolution, so your video on demand can be stellar. So the answer is yes, that's absolutely supported. Good question. Next.
Question from Nick.
From Nick. Hey, Nick.
For remote applications, remote shoots, how portable is our system? And then the other follow-on question is, are we going to be at NAB?
We're not planning on going to NAB. Oops. See, we're not planning on going to NAB. Let me show you how portable the system is, at the risk of blowing this up. So I'm launching StreamSy right now. And I'll take my my rear. I'm on a Microsoft Surface, so I'll take my rear camera over here. And there's my. Oops, I'm sorry. I did it backwards. I'll take my front camera over here. There you go. Hi, Mom. So as you watch my Streamsy here on my desktop, I could be streaming this live right now. There's our studio. You can see that on my front camera. And I have templates, and I can just switch between them with or without special effects. I have lots of things that I can do on my Streamsy. So one way to answer your question is I do this all the time on my Microsoft Surface. If you have a bulky PC, great, that's fine. So you can make it as portable as you want, or I mentioned Streamsy for iOS. So I have the ability to stream to your Devo system or to a CDN directly from my cell phone at whatever bitrate and resolution I set it to be. So extremely portable. Another good question.
Okay, last question from Stephen.
Stephen.
How does the system address content protected material HDCP on HDMI?
Great question. So HDCP, for everybody else, HDCP is encryption, content protection encryption. So when you have your consumer DVD player, your consumer Blu-ray player, or your TV, your cable TV set-top box, and you take the HDMI out of that, and you plug it into your TV, unbeknownst to you, the two devices talk to each other and check, do you have a license to unencrypt stuff? And do you have a license to encrypt it? Yes, I do. They talk, and the actual traffic that travels over the cable is encrypted. And in order to decrypt it, the device needs a particular technology that is commonly not included in the encoders. So a couple of answers to that. We overcome that by using HDCP splitters, and that gets rid of the HDCP. In our hardware encoder that you'll see next month, that has HDCP built in, provided you sign a waiver saying you're using it appropriately. So we can overcome HDCP issues quite easily. The other answer is simply use component video instead of HDMI. Component video, RGB, is not encrypted. So another good question for the systems engineers out there. Anything else? Okay. So some good questions. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. I hope you find these seminars, webinars useful. This will be available for video on demand viewing in a few minutes. We'll post it up there for you. And thanks, and we will see you again next time. Bye for now.